Have you ever wondered how to win at sales long term? Well, the key is understanding that success in sales doesn't happen overnight. It's about building momentum and scaling your results over time. That's where you have the biggest, most massive financial wins. Imagine a future where not right now turns into yes please, as prospects encounter trigger events and you understand your personal brand, and it makes your sales efforts not just fruitful but increasingly easier over time. And this all happens because, well, most sellers think that their prospecting and selling efforts have a linear effect. Right now, for every 10 people that they connect with, they're going to close one deal, let's say. But that doesn't take into account the not right now prospects that reengage with you a few weeks or months further down the line. And Sales Nation, this compounding effect of your prospecting efforts leads to a snowball effect where it becomes easier to close deals, the deals fall into your lap a lot more easily and more regularly, and the deals get bigger and bigger and bigger the longer that you're in the same sales role. Additionally, by committing to sales success within a specific industry, you also gather invaluable insights about your ideal customer persona. Over time, you're going to learn precisely what they need to hear to get a deal done. And of course, the more you know about your ICP, the better you can serve them, and so the higher percentage of them are going to become buyers. Even more compounding of your efforts. And this journey to financial abundance, which most salespeople are on, isn't just about immediate wins. It's about becoming efficient, it's about becoming effective in your efforts, and it's about making every no today a potential yes tomorrow. That's how we get the snowballing effect. That's how you go from earning 6 figures in sales today to multiple 6, if not 7 figures in sales in 5 to 6 years from now. The hardest bit is staying consistent and remaining in that role for long enough to get the results. So let's dive into the 4 essential steps to start winning at sales long term, and let's make your career not just successful, but significantly more rewarding from a financial perspective. Starting your sales journey might feel like setting sail without a map. But imagine if you could chart a course straight to the treasure that you're after, which in this instance is your ideal customers. This is where building a new prospecting list comes into play. Now you might think, well, I could just wait for leads to drop into my lap. Well, sure, you could, but where's the fun, and more importantly, where's the efficiency in that? Creating focused buyer lists speeds up your prospecting, allows you to batch process potential leads rather than chasing them one by one, and it allows you to have a consistent inflow of deals coming to your pipeline, not just for this week, this quarter, or this year, but for potentially, if you do this correctly, for decades to come. It's all about working smarter here, not working harder. So with that said, why focus on anyone when you're doing your prospecting? Why not focus in on your best potential buyers? An excellent buyer list turns your energy laser focused on those prospects that are most likely to say yes. And let's talk about clarity. So many people join the Salesman.com Academy program with this feeling of overwhelm. That's one of the first things I have to work with these individuals to get their process in place, buyer lists being built, to remove some of this overwhelm before they can unlock high levels of sales performance. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed as to what task in your sales process you should be tackling next, well, with a solid prospecting list, you remove the guesswork, you free up more of your time to do what you do best, which is sell. It's about making every moment count, every interaction count. You want to push towards your sales goals without the drag of what's called task uncertainty, where you're essentially reinventing the wheel every time you sit down at the computer. But wait, there's even more to this point. When you pair this idea of building regular buyer lists with rigorous goals, which we're going to dive into in step 4 in this video, you're going to find your results turbocharge, and it's going to be even easier to get this compounding effect of sales performance over time. So if we're building regular buyer lists and we're filling the funnel over and over and over again, what else can we do to increase our chances of long-term sales success? Well, this is an obvious one, but it's massively underutilized by sellers. And that is to create habits, productive habits. Creating strong selling habits is like upgrading your sales engine to run more smoothly and efficiently with less effort and work. Imagine Sam, right? He starts his day trying to figure out what to do. He's no idea. He loses countless hours each and every week because every Monday morning he starts from scratch. Now, imagine Walter, whose sales activities are daily habits. He does the same thing every morning, same thing at 10 o'clock, same thing at 2 p.m., same thing at 3 p.m., over and over and over again. This saves him massive amounts of time. But it isn't just about saving time, it's about automating your success. Habits, unlike fleeting motivation, provide a dependable foundation for consistent growth and productivity. Habits are your brain's way of making certain actions automatic so that the action requires no motivation to execute. Your brain does this for the most important things in life, and you can hijack your brain to implement this habit building process for sales activities as well. Noel Wack said this about sales habits on a recent Salesman.com podcast.
It's a way to control your day, control your outcomes, and control your success based on the habits you create.
From brushing your teeth to getting up and answering the door when the doorbell goes off, habits guide much of what we do every single day without us even realizing it. You can think of habit formation like this, right? So inputs come in from our environment. They then enter our computer brain. Now, if you have a story related to that environmental input in your computer brain, for example, you wake up, you walk to the bathroom, you have a pee, you brush your teeth, or you hear the doorbell, you stand up, you answer the door, then you have a habit in place. So to automate our sales activities, we've got to take something that happens within our environment, then implant a story in our subconscious brain that when this happens, we do this. You don't have to think about these things. Your computer brain is programmed to do them, and that's what makes things habitual. The most obvious one is 9 a.m., you sit down with a coffee in your hand, you pick up the phone, you do cold calls. The first day, it's tough. The second day, it's still pretty tough. 3 days in, when you sit down, that cup of coffee, you pick up the phone, it starts happening a little bit easier and it's a little bit automatic. 30 days in, you've got it nailed. Every day you're going to sit down, do cold calls at 9 a.m. with a wonderful coffee in your hand, and you now have, genuinely now, no bullshit, you genuinely have a massive competitive advantage over everyone else in your industry who, if they cold call at all, they cold call when they feel like it, when motivation hits them, when they watch one of my videos and I slap them around the head visually and audibly to get off their ass, pick up the phone and get some work done. You, however, you're just doing it. So just think how many more calls you're going to make over the course of a 6-month, 12-month, 5-year period. Use this habit setting to your advantage. In sales, habits can turn the boring parts of the sales process into second nature. It can free you up then to focus on what really matters, things that can't be automated, like one-on-one conversations, diagnosis calls, complex negotiations, all that good stuff. And you should also be aware that habits can also lead to unproductive routines. The key to reaching high levels of success in your life, beyond what we're covering here on this channel and sales training content and that side of things, is to understand the automated processes that you're doing day in, day out. Is it exercise, which is positive? Is it binge eating when you're stressful, which is negative? You're not thinking about these things in the moment. You have a habit, you have a routine. The more that you can consciously shape your habits and routines, the more chance you have of winning big beyond sales again, in whatever endeavor that you strive to have success within. So hopefully this is starting to hit home a little bit. Imagine transforming your daily grind into a series of somewhat effortless, habitual wins. That'd be pretty cool to implement, right? And if creating strong selling habits sounds crucial to you, stick around, because next up we're going to dive into how high levels of personal accountability can then take this success and supercharge it and take it to genuinely the next level. So have you ever promised to follow up on a lead only to let it slip through the cracks? Well, we've all been there, but here's the twist. Owning up to our missteps is where the real growth long-term for us sales professionals, B2B business owners, us hustlers, right? Owning up to our missteps is where the real growth happens. High levels of personal accountability mean taking full ownership of your actions and the action's outcomes. It's about recognizing that every decision, every action has a consequence, and you are at the helm of all of them. If you don't have high levels of personal accountability right now, well, imagine how empowering it feels to know that your successes and your failures are directly tied to your choices and actions. Rather than going, well, I kind of won this account and it was lucky. Well, when you take more personal accountability, you won that account because you friggin' went after it, because you took these actions, these steps, this process, and you won. That is incredibly empowering for B2B salespeople. And this mindset doesn't just lead to personal growth, it transforms your sales approach as well. By tracking your activities and maintaining focus on what really matters day to day in your sales process, you can establish a clear connection between your efforts today and your wins tomorrow. This long-term perspective of, again, what you do today doesn't just affect your revenue tomorrow. It might even affect in 6 months, 12 months, 3 years from now, depending on your deal cycle lengths. This long-term perspective is absolutely crucial for longer-term sales success. It's going to help you stay the course, even when the feedback loop of, I did this, I got that, starts to stretch over time. And to get practical here, you can improve your levels of personal accountability by asking yourself better questions. Better questions shift your thoughts and the actions you take from being a victim of a situation you find yourself in to being accountable for the results that you're getting. I cover a step-by-step framework to increase your levels of personal accountability in the Sales Code book, which you can find completely for free over at salesman.com. And you increase your levels of personal accountability by asking more what are called good questions. Good questions include the word I, and they focus on how you can take action to solve a problem rather than rely on someone else to solve your issues. Good questions are, how do I solve this? What did I do wrong? How could I resolve this issue if it crops up again in the future? The more questions that you can ask yourself day to day, and should proactively be doing this, that include the word I, the more personal accountability you're going to have for your thoughts, your actions, and your results. Which leads us on to setting rigorous goals. And this is the final piece of your long-term sales puzzle. And just imagine the boost to your performance when there's an enticing reward waiting for each of the smaller milestones you've set toward your longer term, probably, hopefully, more audacious sales and financial goals. And these rewards aren't just bonuses. They are essential for reinforcing your new habits and making them stick. Because let's face it, being in a day-to-day sales routine, even if everything is going well, it might feel a little bit boring. And so what we need to do when we set rigorous goals is increase the challenge slightly over time. Perhaps you escalate your call targets. By doing this, you not only combat the boredom, but you're continuously improving as well. Again, remember, what we're after here is long-term sales success. So not just, I'm going to do 15 calls today and see what happens. It's how do we set a goal that is a bit of a stretch goal for us, of maybe it's 15 calls, then it's 20, then it's 25, then it's 30. Then it's, well, out of those 30 calls, I want to book 5 meetings, 6 meetings, 7 meetings, 8 meetings, whatever it is. If we set an audacious goal that we're heading towards, break it down into smaller chunks, and then systematically make each one of those chunks slightly harder, we get the momentum of starting the process. We then start to make it habitual because we can stick to it. And then if we reward ourselves at each of these milestones, we get that positive feedback loop that, hey, when I do this, I get that. And don't overcomplicate any of this. We're all just chimps, right? Our brains are wired for, when I do this, if I get a tasty treat, a banana, a Porsche, whatever it is, I'll then do more of it. So you've got to proactively break your goals up into smaller chunks, make them slightly harder each time, and absolutely, and this is something I need to do more of as well, reward yourself when you get to each one of these milestones. It's about celebrating each success, no matter how small, and trying to push through the monotony of B2B sales with fresh challenges. So we covered the basics of long-term sales success, making prospecting lists, building habits, taking more personal accountability, and setting and keeping and sticking to audacious goals. Each part matters in creating a sales strategy that's focused on long-term efficiency, not just quick results. And if you enjoyed this video, why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.